Hi, I'm John Fortune, and today I'm going to read a book to you about a man you may not know, but will probably recognize his last name. The book is from a series called Ordinary People Who Changed the World, and I think you will agree, Walt Disney changed the world. I know you have heard the names Mickey Mouse and Snow White. You may have even been to Walt Disney World in Florida or Disneyland in California. These are all creations by Walt Disney. Let's learn a little bit more about Walt Disney and how he created such magical places. The book I'm going to read to you today is called I Am Walt Disney by Brad Metzler and Christopher Iliopoulos. I am Walt Disney. What's your happy place? Mine was a small town in Missouri called Mercilin. My family moved here when I was 4 years old. I loved the big green fields and the weeping willows. There were animals everywhere, and we had every type of apple, including giant Wolf River apples. There was even a railroad that ran through our town. We'd fish in the summer and go sledding in the winter. It was the kind of place where neighbors would help each other. It was how the world was supposed to be. It's also where I saw a play called Peter Pan. I can fly, watch this. Soon after, I played Peter Pan in our school play. My older brother Roy ran the ropes, so I can fly. No actor was ever more committed to his role. When I was growing up, our town seemed like paradise. And the very best part of it was that my whole family was always around. One uncle was an engineer. Another uncle used to teach me all about plants. That's a Missouri evening primrose, he'd say. And my fancy Aunt Maggie used to bring me great gifts. Here you go, Walter, something for you to draw in. You're so good at it. You should do it more. Aunt Maggie's encouragement changed my life, especially because my dad didn't really support my drawing. How are you going to ever make a living doing that? I don't know. I just like it. When I was 7 years old, I made my first sale. Neighbors bought some of my sketches. But one day, my art got me in trouble. My parents had gone into town, leaving my sister and me alone. What's that black stuff in the barrel? Tar. It's so thick and goopy. I think we can paint with it. Oh, you sure that's a good idea, Walt? What if it doesn't come off? Oh, it'll come off. Watch this. My tar painting never came off. Years later, when we moved to Kansas City, it was still on the side of our house. My first big art display. That boy should know better, my father said. When I was 9, we left Marceline and moved away from the big green fields, the trains, the close-knit community. In Kansas City, life was different. I'd wake up at 3:30 in the morning to deliver newspapers. I was so tired. I'd get home at 6 a.m. and eat breakfast before school. Still so tired. Then I'd leave school half-hour early every day to pick up the newspapers that had to be delivered each afternoon. So tired. For 6 years I had that delivery route. I worked so hard, I rarely had any real time to play. Our family needed the money, so I always kept at it. In the winter, the snow would come up to my neck. Still so tired and cold. Fortunately, I found friends who understood me. In 5th grade, my neighbor, Walt Pfeiffer, and I used to perform as Charlie Chaplin. Presenting the 2 Walts. You're doing great, our teachers said. Some teachers said I was distracted in class, that I was too much of a dreamer. Walter, pay attention. I'd spend hours scribbling in the margins of my textbooks, entertaining others by making the pictures move when you flip the pages. Watch this. Whoa, super cool. Drawing was my happy place. When someone made a clubhouse, I was the one who decorated it. I even decorated the local barber shop. Eventually, I started working for a company that made the advertisements they show before movies. These ads included something that was just starting back then: animation. This is my friend, an artist named Iworks. He'd eventually help me create a character named Mickey Mouse. Who's Mickey Mouse? You'll see. Back then, animated cartoons were brand new. I went to the library to learn more, but there was only one book about them. Just one. My first short films were mainly advertisements, but soon I had my own ideas. Watch this. It's about a little girl who can enter her own dreams, a mix of live action and animation. I'm calling it Alice's Wonderland. The film seemed like such a good idea, we started our own company. It was a total failure. I'm sorry, Walt, you're out of money. It's time to declare bankruptcy. I was 21 years old and so poor, I'd sleep in my office and take baths once a week at the train station. I never let it get me down, though. Determined as ever, I moved to California. My big break came from this woman, Margaret Winkler, one of the most successful animation distributors in the country. I like your Alice's Wonderland idea. I'd like to order a series. Pretend you're mad. Now pretend you're scared. Now pretend you're sad. Those were Walt's favorite things to do, pretending and creating. He was back in his happy place. Iworks came in to help with the animation. Then we took on a new name, Walt Disney Studios. We were on our way to our best creation of all, Mortimer Mouse. Mortimer? That's a horrible name. This is my wife Lillian. That was her real reaction. The mouse needs a new name, she said. What about Mickey? I like it way better than Mortimer. That's how Mickey Mouse was born. But our first Mickey cartoon didn't sell. He wasn't an immediate success, but we didn't give up. Using a bed sheet as a screen, our studio tested a new cartoon and added music. We put the noisy projector outside so it wouldn't interfere. I hid a small band behind the door, and for the very first time in history, the cartoon is in sync with the music. I've never seen anything like this. This is incredible. The word you're looking for is historic. It was historic. Steamboat Willie changed the future of animation. On November 18, 1928, it premiered at the Colony Theater in New York. Did the audience like it? What do you think? Whoa! Everybody loved it. But do you not want to know what the real secret of Mickey's success? Our animators. Iworks and so many others brought Mickey to life. From the start, people loved our little mouse. They related to him. The quality has to be the best. Mickey's whole world needs to feel believable. When Mickey bangs the piano, we need to feel it. See that thing he's doing with his hands? Draw Mickey just like that. The world could feel scary, but in Mickey Mouse, audiences found a character who took them to their happy place. Walt called it personality animation. The audience had to know how Mickey felt, and even how the piano felt. Plus, there was a secret that we animators knew. Walt was Mickey, and Mickey was Walt. Both fearless, both resourceful. With each film, we worked harder, always trying to improve. See how the artists draw their own expressions into the characters? The more human the character's expression, the more believable the story is. On top of that, we always searched for the perfect voice. Mary had a little lamb Haha, this guy on the radio is singing in a goat voice. That's our talking duck. That's how I found Clarence Nash, the voice of Donald Duck. Back then, people didn't take animation seriously, but we did. By 1934, I had one of my biggest ideas ever. Instead of just a short cartoon, we're going to do a full-length movie. It'll have a princess who loves animals and talks to them. And she lives with a wicked stepmother who's jealous of her. But when she escapes into the forest, she finds a family of dwarfs who make everyone laugh. Did you know some of the names that were considered for the dwarfs were Dirty, Blabby, Puffy, Baldy, and Burpy? For real? Burpy? And in the end, through the love and dedication of her dwarf family, she lives happily ever after. For 3 hours, I acted out the entire movie, every single part. The only question was, would anybody watch a movie-length cartoon for almost 2 hours? Turns out they would. Over time, we made more than movies. On Sunday afternoons, I'd take my daughters to the Griffith merry-go-round. There's nothing here for parents to do. You've got to have a place where the whole family can have fun. I started studying amusement parks and historical sites. Our plans quickly grew. We can divide the place up into different lands. We'll include worlds of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. What about today? No, nothing of the present will exist there. And when you walk in, what will it look like? Main Street, USA. I can see it now. Oh, and we should add a train. Is he talking about a park or his hometown? I'm not sure there's a difference. Our goal was to build the happiest place on earth. We called it Disneyland. Did you know Walt was the first one to ride the attractions? On opening day, parts of the park ended in the dirt since we didn't have the money or the time to complete it by then. But to me, Disneyland would never be completed, not as long as there was imagination in the world. Around the same time, we expanded into television, creating shows aimed at the whole family. Davy Crockett, the Mickey Mouse Club, Zorro, and of course, we were still making movies like Silly Old Bear. But of all the things I built, one of my very best was this, the California Institute of Arts, a college dedicated to building a community of artists. Today, Cal Arts trains the next generation of creators in art, design, music, theater, and dance. Are arts your happy place? Maybe you'll study here one day. Many greats have. In my life, my best memories came from my childhood. Those were peaceful days, happy days. It wasn't a fantasy land. It was a real place with real people. So when you stop being a child, when do you stop dreaming? As Peter Pan taught me all those years ago, think of the happiest things. It's the same as having wings. Did you know that Walt Disney has won more Academy Awards than anyone else? 32 in total. He also won the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the highest civilian award in the United States. See this signature? It's modeled on Walt's, but his was far more loopy. The author of this book surprises his kids once a year by driving straight to Walt Disney World Resort instead of school. For real. As Walt planned his Disney World, he also imagined a way to help cities. He called it the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, Epcot. Though the plans for this site eventually changed, the park that was built stands in his honor. Now I want you to think of your happy place. Got it in your heart? I promise you, it will never leave you. It's your own magic kingdom. Our greatest dreams are always a part of us. They nurture us, especially when we nurture them. We can all use some magic in our lives. If you look, it's there. And when you let that magic into your heart, you can fly. I am Walt Disney, and I know that the person who makes dreams come true is you. What is your happy place? For Walt, it was making the impossible possible. First, it was making animated films with sound, then full-length animated movies like Snow White, Pinocchio, Dumbo, and so many more. Then he created theme parks where the whole family could go and have fun. All these things he created started with an idea, a dream he was able to make come true. What's your idea, your dream, your happy place that is the magic kingdom in your own mind? I hope we all get to see it someday, just like we see Walt's. I'm John Fortune, and I want to thank you for watching Lunenburg Storytime. See you next time.
My name is Donna Fortune, and today I'm going to read you a book about Eugenie Clark. The title of the book is Shark Lady, the true story of how Eugenie Clark became the world's most fearless scientist, written by Jess Keating. I love science, technology, and all things that move. I like to take things apart to see how they work. I'm curious, and I enjoy learning about the world, its animals, people, and sea life. I chose this book because, like so many other people, I think Eugenie Clark was an extraordinary person. What's an extraordinary person? Let's read the story about Eugenie Clark and see if we can figure it out. This is the story of a woman who dared to dive, defy, discover, and inspire. This is the story of the Shark Lady. Eugenie Clark fell in love with sharks from the moment she saw them at the aquarium. She couldn't imagine anything more exciting than studying these graceful creatures. But Eugenie quickly discovered that many people believe sharks to be ugly and scary, and they didn't think women could be scientists. Determined to prove them wrong, Eugenie devoted her life to learning about sharks. After earning several college degrees and making countless discoveries, Eugenie wrote herself into the history of science, earning the nickname Shark Lady. Through her accomplishments, she taught the world that sharks were to be admired rather than feared, and that women can do anything they set their minds to. It was Saturday, and Eugenie wanted to stay at the aquarium forever. She wanted to smell the damp, salty air and stare at the glittery rainbow fish. She wanted to keep watching her favorite animals, the sharks. Eugenie pretended she was walking on the bottom of the sea. What would it be like to swim with her sharks? To breathe underwater with gills of her own? More than anything, she wanted to find out. When the summer came, Eugenie's mother took her to swim at the beach in Atlantic City. Stuffing sticky gum into her ears to keep the water out, Eugenie dove down, down, down. The salt stung her eyes, but she didn't want to miss a single fish. Constellations of sea stars speckled the pebbled sand. She imagined a silvery fin standing strong on her back, slicing through the ocean current. To others, sharks were ugly and scary, but Eugenie knew they were beautiful. As she glided through the cool water, she wished everyone could see sharks through her eyes. But the sharks were only in her mind for now. Eugenie decided to learn everything she could about them. So she dove. This time, she dove into books. whale sharks, nurse sharks, tiger sharks, lemon sharks. Eugenie wanted to know about them all. She also joined the Queens County Aquarium Society as the youngest member. Eugenie's notebooks filled with sharks. They swam in her daydreams and on the margins of her pages. At home, Eugenie's mother surprised her with an aquarium of her own. A 15-gallon tank was much too small for sharks, but Eugenie saved her allowance to buy guppies, clownfish, and coral red snails. It felt as big as an ocean in her room. Their small apartment became an aquarium, a laboratory, and a sanctuary. As she grew older, many were still telling Eugenie what to do. Forget those sharks. Be a secretary. Be a housewife. Eugenie wanted to study zoology, but some of her professors thought women weren't smart enough to be scientists or brave enough to explore the ocean. And they said sharks were mindless monsters. Eugenie knew better. Her dream was as big as a whale shark, so again Eugenie dove. She plunged into every course she could. Her laboratory became her home. From sunrise to sunset, she studied how fish grow, how they behave, and how they were put together, both inside and out. Despite all of the people who didn't believe in her, Eugenie was becoming one of the smartest students in her field. Even after she earned her degree, many still doubted her. But Eugenie's work was just beginning. Eager to make discoveries of her own, Eugenie finally dove into the open ocean. In the Red Sea, Eugenie collected hundreds of fish, including 3 new species that had not been discovered before: the Red Sea sand diver, the barred xenia pipefish, and a volcano triple fin. On a research mission exploring the Palau Islands, Eugenie was diving alone when she encountered her first ever wild shark. She wasn't afraid. Instead, she thought it was beautiful. In Isla Majores, she dispelled the myth that sharks must keep moving to stay alive when she swam through dark caves, still and silent, full of resting sharks. Eugenie's daring heart grew bolder with each dive. Soon, they began to call her Shark Lady. Eugenie had proven she was smart enough to be a scientist and brave enough to explore the oceans. As her courage grew, she began to love and understand her beloved sharks more and more. But she never forgot many still believed sharks were mindless killers. Because of their scary reputation, humans were hunting sharks all over the world. Eugenie knew that sharks weren't stupid or mean. She was determined to prove everyone wrong. Eugenie fished through her mind and devised a brilliant experiment. Could she train a shark the way a person trains a dog? Were sharks much smarter than anyone knew? They were. Eugenie was the first scientist in the world to train sharks, and even learned they could remember their training for at least 2 months after. Sharks were not mindless killers. Sharks were beautiful. Sharks were smart. They deserved to be studied, protected, and loved. And Eugenie's dream was now a dream come true. Let's learn some more about sharks. Dangerous monsters? No way. There are over 400 species of sharks, and of these, only about a dozen are known to be dangerous to humans, and encounters are extremely rare. The truth is, despite their fearsome reputations, humans are much more dangerous to sharks than they are to us. Every year, humans kill more than 100 million sharks. It's important to treat sharks with respect, but there's no need to fear them. Sleep tight? Eugenie once swam in a cave full of peaceful, resting sharks suspended in the water. But were they really sleeping? Sharks breathe by using their gills to extract oxygen from the water. Eugenie noticed that the caves with sleeping sharks had more oxygen than usual. She believed that this extra oxygen would make it easier for motionless sharks to breathe, so they didn't need to swim to pass water over their gills. Before confirming this discovery, most believed that sharks had to keep moving to stay alive. No toothbrush here. Sharks have impressive teeth, arranged in rows along their gums. These teeth are constantly being grown and move forward in their mouths like a conveyor belt. Was Eugenie afraid of sharks because of their sharp teeth? No way. She was only bitten once in her entire life, and the encounter didn't happen underwater. Once, on her way to a school visit with the mounted jaws of a tiger shark beside her in the car, Eugenie had to stop quickly at a red light. As she reached across the seat to stop the jaws from tumbling forward, the teeth chomped into her arm. Sneaky skin. Sharks can move extremely fast in the water, and the secret to their speed is their skin. Shark skin is made of dermal denticles, which are more like teeth than fish scales. Some swimsuit designers have even created swimsuits that mimic shark skin to help Olympians swim faster in the water. Big, small, and everything in between. There's an incredible variety of sharks. The smallest in the world is the dwarf lantern shark at under 7 inches long. The world's largest, the whale shark, measures over 40 feet. Once, Eugenie was swimming with these giants in the Sea of Cortez. One swam very close to her, so close that she was able to grab a hold of it. She let it carry her for a long time until she finally let go when she realized she was really far away from her boat. Mermaid purses. Some sharks give birth to live young. Others, like the dogfish, produce unique egg sacs that sustain their young. These leathery sacs are known as mermaid's purses, and they provide the young shark embryo with a safe place to grow. Sometimes it's possible to find a mermaid's purse on the shore if you look carefully. Life at the top. Sharks are apex predators. This means they're at the very top of the food chain in the ocean. Because of this, they play an important role in keeping food webs and prey populations in balance. Without sharks, ocean ecosystems would collapse. Sharks are old, very old. The first sharks appeared over 400 million years ago, and their descendants are still around today. They have survived 5 major extinction events, including one 65 million years ago that destroyed the dinosaurs. Pretty amazing. When Eugenie went to that aquarium, she was very young. She was maybe 7 or 8 years old, and she was born almost 100 years ago. Wow, what a great book about an extraordinary person, Eugenie Clark. It's been my pleasure to share this book about Eugenie Clark and sharks with you today. I hope to see you all again on Lunenburg Storytime. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching Lunenburg Storytime, the books we love. If you'd like to get involved and become a reader, we'd love to have you come into our studio and read a book that you love. Our contact information is lunenburgaccess@gmail.com. So send us an email today and let us know if you'd like to become a reader. Thank you.